Here we go. Neatly circumvents the idea of the wiki.gg logo of looking remarkably like Discord's Mickey Mouse pants. Because the wiki.gg logo resembles a gamepad that kind of maybe possibly meant to resemble a gamepad, but to be honest, looks more like Mickey Mouse pants. So you look, and it takes us to the wiki, which is nice. So I have got a whole bunch of, well, a whole bunch. I've got 58 YouTube videos to process, and I've got 47 minutes of video to listen through, so I can cut out the majority of it because a question kept on coming up, well, not so much question, like very related topics to a question kept coming up. So I, decided to put it in as one thing. There's one question ended. Yeah, 5.5 minutes into that video. Listening at 1.5 speed, which I can't do in lossless cut. I'm going to have to keep my eye out for questions relating to the same topic. That happened, monitor that on again. I had another idea for sorting that shit out earlier. Oh, fuck. And where that lightning bolt was. Oh no, it is actually that high. Definitely. I think the whole thing should box 3 well. Oh, balls. Oh, there you are. There you go. We'll start with another cut segment. That's 43 minutes into a 47 minutes. Just bring in the start of the clip there. Well, start of the cut. Yep. Still breath sounds, let's get rid of those. Freaking meat end of the football. And that those segments forwarded. Now it's hey. And now we can actually process or start processing the early clips. This might take like longer. Because it's a little bit slicing up the intro state of dev, etc. etc. Like the intro segment. It's half an hour long. Description, set the intro in, set up the topics that I remember in it. So we've got state dev, date 8, these builds for the experimental version, what have we got? Oh yeah, wiki, and merch. I'm start first with this bit. Okay, that video that is loaded. And all bugs in YouTube that they used to fix. Yeah, that kinda works. The alternative. Just fiddling the timestamps there. Get those timestamps again. Oh, spitters out here. Okay, cool. Just like a rewind the video a bit now. Oh, no crab hatches. Odd. Here we go. You chop them out, yeah. Probably only one more for vacation period. There we go. Yeah, I'm sure they used to be crab hatches. Yeah, there it is. That's the one I was thinking of. Probably. There's a frame hitch, and I missed me jump. That's poopy. Put a new chapter marker in. Yeah, 12 minutes, 27 seconds. Is that 27 seconds or 28 in? 27 seconds. Info card in here. There, this button. I want the video button. And we got the link for clicking down on YouTube Studio again. Yep. I need to change the speed back. What's me FPS looking like? Wasn't aware I was famous. I've been on Twitch a while. That's done. Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I'm gonna say this while I pause video there, because I'm like the info says I'm processing YouTube stuff in the background. But like, I'm one of those people where I don't consider myself a streamer. I'm just a person who streams. I don't promote myself streaming. I think I tried having the YouTube integration. No, not the YouTube integration. The Twitter integration. Where it automatically says when you go live on at some point. I just give up on that. Like quite some time ago. So yeah. Like I stream on Twitch primarily as a means of moderating the length of my gameplay sessions. Specifically with Satisfactory, because this is one of those games where you have a goal in mind and you can just like effectively go on autopilot. It's only like when you're doing like complicated manifold setups that you actually need to use your brain. So what often would end up happening is like I would end up just kind of playing like a zombie. For, like playing Satisfactory for like up to like 10, 12 hours at a time. You know, taking food breaks and toilet breaks in between, obviously. So we're streaming Twitch, like streaming on Twitch, and like eventually I'll switch to YouTube. My principle is if I am playing long enough that I can no longer coherently, verbally articulate what I'm doing, even when no one's like actively watching. That's an indication when I should stop playing, as opposed to, you know, before I started streaming it, it just means, oh, I could just keep going, get more stuff done. Zombie brain there. Well, yeah. Like I said, I don't promote myself doing it too much, if at all. And it's mostly, like I say, it's mostly just about moderating the ranking sessions than it is about actually doing anything. The only distinction is, well, I'm gonna get to that in a bit. The only distinction being that I stream myself processing the Satisfactory dev streams because I found that doing them offline, I will get very, very bored. Because it's like I have to sit and focus and watch it for like 2 to 3 hours. Whereas if I'm playing Satisfactory at the same time, I can just be having it on the like on the other monitor, and I can just listen for changes in topic and when new questions start, and then, you know, slap a new bit marker in. And it also helps moderate like the whole like zombie brain thing. Because if I'm like at a point in the stream where I can't concentrate on what I'm... Oop, that's wrong. If I'm at a point in the stream where I can't concentrate on what I'm doing with the video editing, which is usually the Q&A segment, that's like a point at which I need to like come off stream and then like take a break and then pick it up later. So that's what I'm building in the game. So this is version 20 of my building strategy. I have, like, version 20 does not mean I've been playing 20 sessions. It just means that there's like very subtle changes, or like rage quits of sessions mean like it goes from 19 to 19B when it turns out that you're having very great difficulty dealing with Mercer spheres or trying to plant stuff inside the hub. And it's just, you just start from scratch rather than, you know, doing stuff. Yeah, it's big build-ish. Like, the entire facility fits in, well, I say facilities fits in the rocky desert and a bit of beach islands. So this being version 20, one of the things that are different is Western Rocky Desert was usually occupied by the frame production facility, the mortar production facility, the copper and continued production facility, so like it covered everything like from like computers, circuit boards, cable, quick wire, supercomputers, all that. So copper and continuum used to be over here, with these two being over here, and steel, instead of being over here, it used to be like up top of there, so it would feed down into the parts that needed it. And you refine my building strategy to the point where I can spread stuff out more, and in this, like in the case of version 20, I've no longer got my copper and continuum stuff over here. It's instead intending to be right in front of these two, because for the past several hundred hours of play, I have been intending to use trains. And quite often, I've ended up not using them in favour of running big-ass belts throughout the entire map. So when it came to, like, start a new game, I decided, like, the reason the way I arranged my buildings was focused around the principle of, oh, I'm going to have trains. Let's just remove that and see what happens. So one of the things that came with that is I had like a starter style space elevator factory down over there, and it ran into issues where it kept on running into like viaducts that like back and forth. So with this one starting over and having everything over here mostly, that meant I could slap the space elevator over there. So that, like, the western side is like pre-planned and all signed up, like the manifold aren't complete. Like, it's all signed up and calculated for exactly how many parts I need to do my space elevator stuff. And then the eastern side, which you can't really tell the difference from this angle, that's the bit with the open ends. Like, that's where I'm producing the parts of the space elevator. So, a space elevator part production is entirely self-contained. So I'm producing stators, like, over there, like, you can kind of just about see the third floor of it poking over there. I think that's stators anyway. But stators are also being produced over there for motor production. So that's going to get its own supplies, it's managing its own production entirely, and then eventually it's just going to be left overflowing all the parts to the awesome sink. All sorted. So like, as I mentioned, like, this one frames, that one motors, copper and titanium shift's going to go in front. The one way in the back there, that's another thing that got refined between 19B and 20. Used to be exclusively the ingot facility, and then when I finally got around to doing aluminium, it became also the aluminium facility. So the it was ingots, copper sheets and ingots on top, like on the bottom, and then aluminium came on the on top. Whereas this time round, I've deliberately rearranged the floors so aluminium production comes first and then ingots, which is why there is a super tall viaduct all the way over here, carrying at the moment just 2 belt lines. Ooh, too far. 2 belt lines worth of deuterium ingots all the way down there and along, with like some incomplete stuff for other belts going all the way along to there to supply deuterium ingots for stitched iron plate and quick deuterium stator. We had Rocky Desert is like one of the best starting areas. I know people like to shit upon grass fields, but I was quite happy with grass fields until I realised I was spending far too much time building manta gates to avoid the manta clipping through my factory. And that's when I shifted up to Rocky Desert. But in terms of access to resources, you've got all of your base resources, like here. You've got quartz here and here. Uranium's up top there. And oil's like over here and over here. So you've got to act like, oh yeah, and bauxite nodes up there. So you can do everything entirely within the confines of Rocky Desert and like the edges of the adjacent biomes. Because, actually, what's that one a sub-zone of? Let's pull up the map a second. So Beach Islands, which is where the oil nodes are, is a sub-biome of western beaches. And then there's oil nodes in the Spire Wall sub-biome of Spire Coast. Oh yeah, and obviously coal plant up in Crater Lakes. Oh, there it is. I'm just about to see it over there. Yeah, mostly focused in Rocky Desert. Like, the problem with this is I have this a few like building things constraints on myself. 2 of which are tagged in the Twitch info. One of which is a 0 plant biomass run. So I don't collect any plant biomass. All of the biogens have to be powered by biomass harvested from creature parts, which makes it very frustrating before you've got the Xenobasher, and you find out that the best way to get creature part biomass is to go hunting for stingers. There is a little biomass processing facility which you can't see from here. Here we go. So there's a bunch of constructors with like smart splitters around the back that's fed from one bin downstairs on the ground. It takes all the creature parts in, splits them up in the constructors, splits them between warehousing alien protein because it's used in inhalers and DNA capsules, and having a stockpile of solid biofuel and plant biomass because not plant mouse, like biomass and solid biofuel, because biomass is used in the fabric recipe before you get the polyres alt. Yeah, there's also an awesome sink down there, which you can barely see, but it's not linked into this system. It's just there for when I want to drop DNA capsules in to get more points. Well, one key feature of the way I build the different facilities, which you can see from this side, is they are staggered out a bit, like on the horizontal axes. This means that you don't have as much vertical belt spaghetti, and in fact, like across all of these, especially like the one right in the back, it's perfect up and down, right until you get to the warehouse floors, and then it kind of stakes around itself a bit. I did used to run hypertubes up the sides of the buildings, but once I had a playthrough where I finally unlocked the hover pack, I realised running hypertubes up the side of the buildings is a waste of time. Because most of the time, I'm not running up and down, and it's more tedious laying out hypertubes than it is just running up and down the stairs on the odd occasion that I need to do that. And then we'll pop over here. So we've got signs on all the floors by the belts. The other side's a bad example, because that's just coal and iron redistribution. So I'm using the signs to indicate what's going where and what direction it's travelling in. Signs that aren't going into the same floor also indicate where they're going. So this one is like fairly redundant, saying, "Oh, there's concrete going in. We know where it's going." We've got here saying those are going to storage. Like this one's reserved for in case industrial beams going to heavy modular frames. Yeah. Actually, no, that'll be this one here. It's like the one at the bottom is the one at the back. And we've got this one, which is iron rod going into the storage. Because I used to have iron rod being produced way over there, because that's where all the ironwork was, and then I've got the steel rod alt. I realised running a belt line from here to there for steel ingots is daft. It's a lot easier to just do iron rods up there. Let's see where we are. Anything? Oh yeah. Other notes is each output has notes on where it's going, how many. Well, that's unknown because I haven't actually hooked it up yet, and it might end up being the steel pipe weld. So we've got where it's going, how much is being produced, how many machines it's spread over, and then the number of like resources required. And we got manifold set up in there like that. Now this is relatively straightforward manifold. But we go up one floor. One of the things I used to do was have fairly condensed manifolds, and then like there would be a separate steel ingot factory floor, and there would ship steel ingots about. One of the things I started doing more in like recent playthroughs was doing mezzanine-based production. So I would be producing all of the steel ingots, but like, you know, on a little like mezzanine floor above me production. So it would produce all of the steel ingots for all of the manifolds that would go on this floor. But that's kind of cumbersome to do, and some of the buildings, it means like the manufacturers are quite tall, so you don't have as much space for the mezzanine, and like wiring them in from the ceiling mounts is kind of fiddly. What I've started doing now is more inline production of stuff. Problem is that this can result in really, really long manifolds. Don't think I've got an example over here, but I will have an example over there. There we go. I was worried I wouldn't land it there. So, yeah, one of the things I don't like doing is putting jump pads, no, not jump pads in, the green jello pads. I don't like how they look. This is the quickest way to go from the top floor to the bottom floor. It's usually just to jump in the hypertube. Now, it can go bad in two ways. Well, three ways. Like, one of which you can completely mess up your forward momentum and either like undershoot or overshoot the hypertube and just completely miss and go splat. The second way is you can get roughly in the right location and just go splat in front of the hypertube. The most annoying thing, however, is you go splat on the hypertube entrance, fall off, and then get sucked in. So, you know. So we'll just skip that floor because I don't have manufacturers yet. Here we go. So here's an example of a slightly over-engineered manifold. So we've got the assembler for crap, what we're producing here, module frame. We've got stitched iron plate coming in from upstairs. There we go. So that just comes in the top line, pops over the constructor and goes straight in. And then we're producing iron rods on site from ingots being shipped from where we just came from. But we've got space here for when we get steel rods, because we're going to be shipping... we're aiming to unlock like solid steel ingots, so we can keep this iron ingot line in instead of having to drain it and shove iron ore in. And then there's this second line here reserved for shipping coal over. So we can do the on-site steel ingots to steel rods to modular frame. The only problem with inline production like this is like this is where that first manifold ends, and then like this space, like that's where the second manifold ends. Now imagine what happens when you're producing plastic or bauxite. Well, not bauxite, like when you're producing aluminium ingots. You have hugely long manifolds, because you've got to like do because like I used to produce alumina solutions separately from like the ingots, and the scrap would be on another floor, and then the ingots would be on another floor. Whereas now, I think I might produce the alumina solution on a separate floor, which I can just poke my head out and have a look. It's already planned out. But like the scrap and the ingots get generated on the same floor. Okay, so yeah. So we've got the warehouse for that facility there. The floor reserved for the water extractors on the bottom. Copper sheets being produced because if I'm doing pure copper ingots and I've got water involved, I may as well do copper sheets on the same building, because water extractors are already going to be there. Heat sinks. Mark 5 belt parts. Aluminium casing. Gas canister. And then at that point I can't see what's on the thing. I think we've got a directory sign down here. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so it looks like in this version of the facility what I planned for was to do the alumina solution, scrap and ingots all on the same floor. And then any other facility where I need alumina solution, it's going to take care of it itself. Oh yeah, you can see the planning for the space elevator parts now. They're all the way down to there. We've got thermal propulsion rocket, like aimed to be produced on the bottom floor, then nuclear plaster, then the other one. I keep forgetting which one's which. One of the things that's different with the space elevator facility is I'm not producing the full amount of smart plate, etc. used by the entire facility. I'm like overflowing it. So for crap, which one is it? Versatile framework? No. There's one of those uses smart plate. Anyway, yeah. I only produce like as much smart plate as I need in total. So if like one recipe requires like 3, if the base recipe requires 3 units a minute, and then a recipe that uses smart plate requires 5 units a minute, then the manifold for that like production will only be producing 2 units a minute. Because by the time I'm producing that, I don't need to be sending smart plate to the space elevator anymore, so I may as well reuse that production. But for everything else, everything's like producing exactly what it needs. And then, you know, yay. Just one last thing to show on the tour before I get back to doing what I was doing. Oh, wait, wrong tube, wrong tube. I meant to go into one of the ones that go further away, because that gives us time to turn around upstairs. There's a slightly better angle of the biomass plant there. So this is my warehouse floor. I used to have stacks of the industrial storage bins going up to the ceiling, and then I would like loop them around and have multiple stacks. Like that was when I was still intending to have like a centralized warehouse and shifting everything everywhere by trains. And then I realized, for the most part, I don't need more than a full bin of anything. Like prior to the foundation recipe change, you could build foundations entirely with concrete, So you could just take a full bit of concrete and get a whole building work done. So now I just have the one thing fed into a smart splitter that overflows into a single line. Everything goes to sink. I didn't used to do the sinking part. Like, I would only put it on places like the copper sheet production. Because when you get around to doing like steam copper sheets and fewer copper ingots, etc., if the manifolds back up, then bottles can just get stuck inside the manifolds and never come out. And by sinking them, that means like they're being constantly consumed. Then you have empty canisters getting like split one way or the other in like the input manifolds, and then it's all good. Whereas now, what I'm doing is I'm sinking everything that I can, so that I've got a more predictable power grid. So it used to be this would be like way down here, and I'd be far underproducing like me power needs. And then as soon as I would fire something up, the clock would start consuming them, everything would start switching on, and then the entire power would go out. So having more predictable power consumption is good. Well, you've had the tour, and now you get to avoid being bored by watching me just place belts over and over again. So you've had the fun part. Sleep well. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I'm looking forward, like with regards to the belt, I'm looking forward to like belt, sorry, not belts, blueprint snapping being improved. Because if blueprint snapping was perfected, meaning that I could have like well, not these ones, that's a bad example. There's these three belts in a blueprint, not connected to anything, and I could just snap them to whatever poles I wanted. And I would be happier having shorter viaduct runs, because obviously there's the 8 segment length. Actually, hang on a second. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4x4 or 8x8? 5, 6. So that's 6. How big's the thing? I think it's 4x4 foundation tiles. Getting distracted with my thoughts now. I think it's 4x4 because like people are constantly asking for 8x8. Yeah, it's 4x4 because people are asking why can't we have 5x5 because of the whole 5x5 building strat. So yeah, I would have to have shorter viaduct runs if blueprint snapping was improved. But it might be an acceptable not offset thing. My brain's stuck. Yeah, if you really wanted to blueprint crawl gens, you would just get mods. Well, if you're not updated. Back to the YouTube shit. there's the bit where bits run in. Like 17 minutes into a half-hour video thing. Get an info card put in. I think there's a playlist for bits. There's like a few people in the community have been mentioned often enough where they get their own playlist. Yeah, Bits has got one. Yeah, I think my current plan for this evening is going to be, because I've had me nap, won't mind eating this late. So what I'm going to end up doing is getting to the end of this video. Oh wait, there's the chat transition point. Getting to the end of that video and then taking a break to eat. And then doing as much of like the rest of the clips before I can like fuck with my sleep cycle. Get this put in. Putting it in later is going to be a pain in the arse. I don't even know what's going to be like on this channel, but yeah. I don't know if you were. I can't remember if you were here yesterday when I was trying to work around this like lack of foresight of getting stuff around here. So what I ended up doing was just shoving stuff over and then having like a diagonal belt cutting across, which was kind of. And one of the things I thought of earlier today was this approach. Like, it still has the same problem of if I want to stick like a third layer of stuff on this channel, I am completely screwed because that belt's in the way. But it's going to look like a lot more graceful by not having like going too far. So yeah, still got some Mark II belts in here, so I don't need to clean those up. Mostly sorted. Oh yeah, there's the YouTube coming on here as well, on it. It's off to market. is not doing a TLDR after getting invaded by bits. Huge couple there. There we go. 18 minutes, 37 seconds in, talking about Lumen. Now we've talked about the wiki again. I'll get the link in there. There we go. Your text and the call to action. Yeah, I've got to do an additional playlist as well. Just completely forget that Jason's stuck in. And because I'm not using, because I'm not screen sharing this, a lot of what I'm saying about my YouTube stuff, it's not going to make any sense to anyone. You won't be able to see what I'm doing. Alright, these ones aren't used. Think, are they? Hang on a second. No, wait, yes, they are used. There's a new trapper marker I've got to put in as well. Just pause that so I don't get too far ahead. So these bits are a little bit messy and I don't have the patience to like fiddle with them. But this bit here is a lot, like this corner is a lot neater than what I had before. And then like, if I need to put more lanes in, I could just stack them up higher and higher and higher until eventually like if this shit gets in the way. But it means if I do a v20B that I'm going to put the catwalk on the other side and have the manifold point the other way. Because really, like, this is a bad idea and just curbed expansion. Oh, we've got Mark II got parts over here. We'll get these upgraded before we do anything else. Here we go. Let's get this bit done. It's going to take us longer doing the YouTube stuff this way, but it means like the focus isn't completely screwed and I don't get bored, because that does happen. Okay, so now everything is correctly oriented again. Woo! Frames. There's me. Oh crap! What is this one? That is data, I think. Oh, I'm sure I'm steel beams. Balls. Probably blueprint these as well, or like at least integrate, like have a second blueprint that has like the bottom row of this shit. But it's not all that often that I need to actually place them in batches like that. Anyway, I got to rewind for a chat. Actually, that's the point. If I'm going to be eating when I'm done with this, I should probably go preheat the oven. Then I won't have to wait as long to eat. So, I shall be right back. I prepared a scene sauce for this. Try to aim somewhere that it's actually readable. Yep, there we go. That's more or less readable. Alright, be right back. And we're back. Let's just double check the mic. That's fine. Turn that off. Now it's load an autosave. Let's try that one. That little snack while I'm waiting for the oven to heat up. In the event I change my mind about cooking, because sometimes I'm like, by the time I'm ready to actually start cooking, I'm too tired to actually wait. So it is a bit wasteful in terms of energy usage. I'm not going to force myself to eat just because I've had the oven heating. Anyway, chapter markers, where was I up to? There we are, start a new chapter. Let's see, do I have to rewind a second, or have I got enough of the word there? Well, that looks 2058. We're starting. We'll talk about the Kickstart there, so I should get a link for that. It's been difficult, so I've got to go and grab an image. I'm deliberately going to put the body pillows on. Nearly fell off. And that's 25:26. 4 minutes left in the video. So I'm just going to coming out the soundtrack on cassette to play in the mini boombox. I keep on forgetting, is it boombox or is it boombox? One word or two? Two words. I got that consistent on the archive topics, or oh, fuck it. I've got it as one word. I have to fix that. I've probably noticed before and forgotten, and I'll possibly forget as well. What's that? Intro / state of dev / official satisfactory wiki has moved / merch Kickstarter video done. And I completely forgot to make a mental note of whether or not they swore in it. So I'm gonna err on the side of caution and assume that they did. It's entirely possible they managed to talk for half an hour without swearing, but I'd rather not get the monetization privileges revoked for getting it wrong. Plus, I don't want to have to listen to it all over again. Plus, I can only do that for so long before my mind just goes to complete mush. Not that I get bored listening to Jason snort, it's more that I can't, like, repeatedly watch the same thing. Like, 3 times at least, because, like, I watch it once live, like, I watch the dev stream, like, once live when I can. And I've got to watch it another time when I'm flagging up videos to export. And then third time when I'm doing the YouTube chapter markers and info files. My aim is being completely terrible. Yeah. This is going to take a while to do, so I should probably just, like, take the break for food now. Could be, like, cooking the food while I'm still streaming. But I'd rather just, like, take a break from doing anything for a bit. No. So, still a ways off the $100 mark. So, yeah, that's going to be off now. I might be on again tonight after eating. Depends on how rapidly I get tired. Because like quite often when I like finish streaming, I just get super tired really quickly. So I might be streaming again tonight. I might not be. If I'm not streaming after work tomorrow, it'll be because I'm either napping or like actively processing the clips into the 5-site building. If I don't get the remaining 37 videos processed tonight, I'll also be doing that. Might be streaming again in the morning. I'll have trouble sleeping through the night because of the weather, but you know, yeah, no guarantees. It's one of the reasons why I took the stream schedule off the board. So yeah, that's going to be off now. Thanks for joining. Goodbye.